Today, I'd like to explain in a short video what's different between a tube fitting gap gauge that all industry tube fittings have, except for Superlok's built-in gap gauge, and what the difference is and what the benefits might be. A standard tube fitting gap gauge is used to measure the distance between the nut of a fitting and the body of a fitting. When a fitting is assembled, it's about the distance from the nut to the body. That's what's important. So after assembly, after tubing has been fully inserted, the nut has been tightened, and the nut has been turned 1 1/4 turns, we should not be able to fit this gauge in between the nut and the body. This is a no-go gap gauge, and it's used for all fittings except for Superlok's fitting. If this gap gauge fits, we still need to tighten the nut, and so we continue tightening until it doesn't fit. So what this tells us is if we've under-tightened, we can correct that. It will not tell us if we've over-tightened, because as we tighten, of course it's not gonna fit. And if we tighten a whole nother turn, it's really not gonna fit. But according to this gap gauge, it's still okay. It could be a concern about safety and about taking care of the chemicals that are in your system. So with Superlok's built-in gap gauge, the tubing is inserted, the nut continues to be tightened the 1 1/4 turns, but at that 1 1/4 turns, the Superlok built-in gap gauge, which is these red rings you see here, simply pop away, telling you that you have not over-tightened or under-tightened that fitting. So I'm going to demonstrate here. The tubing gets inserted. We turn with a wrench the nut 1 1/4 turns. At that 1 1/4 turns, the built-in gap gauge will pop away. That tells you that this nut has been tightened correctly. It's not too tight in this position. It's not too loose in this position. That is the point of perfect compression where it's not going to leak. And Superlok guarantees these fittings for life against leaks because of this technology. The gap gauge is something that is necessary. It is part of specs on putting together other fittings, but it's often not used. It's something that's forgotten. It's something that you've got to carry and remember. And a lot of times it's not used in the market. So we're putting together fittings without using the proper procedure, and of course, leaks could occur. With the Superlok eye fitting, the red rings are built in. They go with you everywhere you go. Each fitting that you grab out of your toolbox or your workspace will have a built-in gap gauge on it. So you simply tighten according to procedure, and you have that secondary confirmation that it's always going to be right, and that you can walk away and know that you have a leak-free system and you're not going to have to go back and repair something.